Boromir was a powerful Lord of the Rings character, and his history before the events of the film makes him one of the most tragic. Of all the men setting off to rid the world of the One Ring, he was the least sympathetic on the surface. However, there is a lot about him that many fans didn't understand. People who have only watched the Lord of the Rings movies saw that the One Ring strongly tempted Boromir. He was antagonistic and unlikable, but Boromir was also one of the most kind-hearted of the characters when examined closely. Boromir might have been the best hero of them all until his death. Boromir's past trauma explains his antagonistic behavior. Boromir was the eldest son of Denethor, the steward of Gondor, and he had lived through terrible times, watching his people fall and die at the hands of evil forces. While Aragorn was the warrior seen as the most heroic in the movies, it was Boromir who spent years risking his life to protect his people. Boromir had a tough childhood. His mother died when he was only 10 and he was put on a pedestal by his father, who demanded only the best of him. His younger brother was born, and while Boromir pushed for him to receive the same respect from his father, he was the only person who cared for and loved him. He watched countless people die over the years, both friends and people that he had sworn to protect. Gondor was growing weaker and weaker by the years, and he kept fighting what he saw as a losing battle. However, he never gave up, even as he began to see a hopeless situation ahead. Boromir's past history explains his desire to take the ring. Since Boromir had seen so much tragedy and death over the years, he saw a chance to finally save his people by taking the One Ring and using it as a weapon. It would have distorted and corrupted the person who had it, but Boromir was so intent on doing good for his kingdom that he didn't care. Boromir knew that risking his own life, and possibly his soul, would have been worth it to use the One Ring against Sauron's armies to drive them back and save lives. He even had a dream in which he saw the eastern sky grow dark and that the end was near. He truly believed the One Ring was their last chance. Elrond absolutely refused the request, knowing the danger of the One Ring would lead to greater evil in the end. Even if Boromir's intentions were pure, Elrond knew that the One Ring would corrupt and lead the user to evil, and this was the most tragic truth of all for Boromir. Boromir's relationship with the hobbits proved his inherent goodness. What showed, more than anything, that Boromir was the greatest hero of the entire fellowship was how he treated the hobbits. No one respected the little people, as he called them. However, he did. Not only did he respect and honor them, but he worked hard to train them so they could one day defend themselves in battle. There was one scene in particular where Boromir was sparring with Merry and Pippin, and the two hobbits tackled him to the ground and began to wrestle. One might expect a warrior like Boromir to grow angry. Instead, he laughed and wrestled with the two, showing warmth and kindness. His later horror after attacking Frodo was heart-wrenching. When Gandalf seemingly fell to his death, the hobbits began to mourn. While the fellowship demanded that they move on, it was Boromir who admonished them, demanding they allow the hobbits to mourn for a moment and pay respect to Gandalf. It was clear from the start that Boromir was the most human of them all. Boromir deserves much more respect after his LOTR death. When Boromir finally gave way to temptation, it was the most underrated tragedy of the Lord of the Rings. He was a good man, kind to the hobbits, and wanted nothing more than to save his people and protect those who couldn't defend themselves. He saw a way to do it, and the darkness led him to his death. The One Ring manipulated Boromir, leading him to believe it had good intentions. His vision sees Gondor unable to withstand the orc attacks, and he believes he must take the One Ring from Frodo to save the world. He never wanted to hurt his companions, but he believed he needed to take a stand. When Boromir regains control and realizes he was going to hurt Frodo to achieve his goals, he breaks down, and it is a heartbreaking moment. He believed he betrayed his honor, and he died defending Merry and Pippin, killing dozens of orcs before falling to his death, an honor-bound sacrifice to pay back his betrayal. From the start of the story, Boromir had a bound honor to his people to fight to defend them and to save them from destruction. He did the best he could, but when he tried to do the one thing forbidden, he failed in his mission.